You're listening to the Worst of the Worst podcast. We are remote again with John online.
Hello.
And Maddie with me in person.
What's going on?
Today we're finishing our chat on Worst Cult Part 2.
You've got way too much enthusiasm for me, Matt. I hope this isn't the tone for the rest of the podcast.
I cannot keep up.
I feel like getting up and leaving. If that's how this is going to go.
This is not what I signed up for.
No, not at all. You should do a self-help book. A shit one.
I should.
But you should do one.
My self-help book will be called Why I'm Better Than You. And that's just the attitude you got to live your life with, is just know you're better than other people.
If you know it, things will come from that. You know what I mean? That's the start.
That comes pretty easy to South Africans like you, huh, Matt?
Of course. It comes with the territory.
They were born better.
That's why 60% of us immigrate to Vietnam and Australia.
Built different.
60%, huh?
That was a totally made-up stat, but I would believe it.
That's fine. I was making up a bunch of stats last pod. Whatever, man.
Yeah, is there anything you want to say to our numerous listeners about your 100 million Armenians?
My 100 million Armenians, yeah. Well, first off, I think everybody knows I have a contentious relationship with the English language. So that's my excuse. Yeah.
Always adding zeros places they shouldn't be as well.
I know that people were being sent to France and not England to fight. Second, I was trying to say, I think hundreds of thousands of Armenians. I believe it was up to 1 million Armenians was the estimate that I was going for. But of course, I said the worst of everything that I was trying to say, right? Instead of saying hundreds of thousands, I said hundreds of millions. Can you guys hear that train, by the way?
Oh, fucking God, yeah.
Okay, listeners, if you can hear this, if we haven't edited this out, John lives on a train. He actually lives on the train.
How fucking cool would that be? Oh my God. You don't even have to work at it. Just, hey, baby, I live on a train. You want to see it? Like, come on.
It's the implication.
You never know what it's like. It's who wouldn't want to see it? Like, even if you're not interested in that guy, you'd be like, well, he lives on a train. Like, okay.
It's like that Simpsons episode where they meet the storyteller on the train carriage.
Yeah, you're just a traveling wordsmith.
With a guitar. That's
who I aspire to be. Clearly, I got the train part down. The other crucial.
Yeah, I live on a train. I haven't got like any of the storytelling skills or
the other stuff. That's the hardest part first, though. I took care of the hardest part first. I got on the train.
Yeah.
And I'll figure out the rest.
Yeah, I chose this life.
Yeah. It's like being in the right place at the right time, you know? Like the right place is the easy part. You just find the right place and you wait.
That's a life that chooses you, though, you know.
the traveling wordsmith life? Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right.
Every date you take home is technically a kidnapping.
Luckily, we live in Vietnam where such things don't exist.
Don't tell people where we live.
So, before we talk about your cult, what animal would you least want to get into a fight with? So, my question is, and I've thought about my question, right? My question is, you're in your living room, and between you and the door out of your house is a wild animal. What animal do you least want it to be?
Yeah, between you and the exit. And it's mad. It is angry. There's no. It's you or the animal.
Yeah, it's hungry. It's angry. What animal? Worst animal?
Gorilla, silverback.
Why?
I stick to it, dude. Those things are fucking strong.
Yeah.
Have you seen their teeth?
The gorilla's the worst. Or you think you've got no chance of getting around a gorilla?
I mean, if it's a big gorilla, have you seen the size of my hallway? I'm not getting around him.
Yeah.
No, you've no chance against a gorilla. None chance.
Nah, not a fuck, dude. I think I've already won. But yeah, go ahead.
How long do you think the gorilla would take to kill you? Or do you think you could play dead?
That's actually a good question. I don't know if gorillas can like smell that you're alive, or how would they know?
Because they don't eat you, do they?
No, they don't.
So,
do
like,
they?
No, I don't think a gorilla would eat you.
Gorillas are not carnivorous. Jesus.
Shut up, John. You don't know that for a fact.
I do know that for a fact. Haven't you been to Zoo, Maddie? Jesus fucking Christ. My God.
Isn't a monkey's diet like 2% meat or something? Don't they eat like slugs and shit?
Okay, first off, gorillas are apes. Secondly, gorillas are not carnivorous. Okay, you know what? Let's look it up.
Fucking science boy over here.
I'm not gonna be wrong again. If I'm wrong this time, we're gonna make it. I'm not gonna have to send another disclaimer. Oh, gorillas are herbivorous. That means they eat herbs.
They eat herbs.
They eat herbs.
Yeah, herbs.
Like Cajun.
Is that how you guys would say?
Basil.
Yeah, you know, bay leaves.
What animal would you least want between you and the exit, John?
So my argument is similar to Matt's. It would be a chimpanzee, a male chimpanzee.
Why is a chimpanzee worse than a gorilla?
I think so. And here's why. Because a chimpanzee will not kill you quickly. Like a gorilla could just like smack you across the room and break your neck. If you're lucky, a chimpanzee will like rip your face off and like bite your fingers off. That's a slow and miserable death.
How do you know that chimpanzees would do it differently to a gorilla?
Because there have
have you
been
studied
numerous
this?
chimp maulings in the United States, and that's my recollection of those
Is that a
events.
serious problem? Is it?
The nice thing about having this computer right here is I can fact check myself.
Every single thing John says on this now, he's gonna have the computer to back him up.
There was a male chimp called Travis in Connecticut. He was on several television shows. And in 2009, he attacked and mauled his owner's friend in Connecticut. He blinded her. He severed several body parts and lacerated her face. They had to shoot him to get him to stop. He was shot by a police officer.
What, the chimp?
Travis.
The chimp, yeah.
I thought Travis.
Travis, the chimp.
Travis the chimp, not the owner.
Not the, well, no, it was the owner. The owner, I think it happened to the owner's friend. Can you imagine, like you like if like Kimbo just rips off Maddie's face, just like scars Maddie for life? You just gotta live with that.
I'll take that as a win. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Kimbo's my cat for the listeners who don't have the context.
Yeah. If I deserve it, I deserve it. Yeah, I don't know, John. Gorilla, it's all right. There might be more cases of a chimpanzee ripping off someone's face, but is that like there's just more chimpanzees about, in it? We wouldn't even bother having a gorilla there because you're fucked. At least the chimpanzee's got a chance of being okay.
So I guess so. I mean, I think a chimpanzee would just kill you slowly. What the impetus behind the attack is that oh my god, this woman Charla Nash, she was holding a Tickle Me Elmo, which is one of the chimp's favorite toys.
Yeah, so she was asking for it.
Yeah, she was asking for
She was
it.
asking. She was holding a Tickle Me Elmo, and he went into a rage, and that was that. That was that for like numerous body parts.
Yeah, that sounds fucking horrific.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, that's pretty horrific. She went through 7 hours of surgery on her face and hands. She lost her hands, nose, ears, lips, mid-face bone structure, and received significant brain tissue injuries. So yeah, that's the only chimp mauling I've really done research on, but that's the only chimp mauling I need to know about.
Yeah.
One too many.
It's awkward in here now because Matt's got a massive erection. Well, mine would be an ostrich.
Dude, ostriches are cute, bro.
Oh, fuck off. Have you ever seen one?
I've been to an ostrich farm and it was very
Of
erotic.
course, you fucking have. You live next to an ostrich farm, don't you?
Well, I actually did live close to an ostrich farm.
Oh, God.
And dude, you can pet them, you can ride them, you can tame them.
You can ride them? No, you fucking can't.
Stop it.
What?
What kind of fucking drugged up ostriches were these?
Who lets you just... What sort of parent would let you get on an ostrich as a child? Like when you're young enough to ride an ostrich, you should not be allowed to.
Can I tell you a sad story of my upbringing? In my kindergarten, we used to, like, our kindergarten was on a farm, so they would have, like, tractor rides and pony rides. And that's how I found out I was allergic to, like, animal fur, is they put me on a pony and I nearly died. So every Friday going forward, I had to ride the tractor with the younger kids. I couldn't ride the ponies with my own age kids.
Oh, you sad little boy. Is that when the bullying started?
I can just imagine 8-year-old Matt just seething, just sitting on this train, just like. Why an ostrich, Maddie? Of all the animals in God's great kingdom, would you pick an ostrich?
The cutest animal on the planet, by the way.
God, you're sick, you know. So it's just terrifying. There's something about it that terrifies me. It's just a big fucking massive bird with a big beak, and I know they're really territorial. And aggressive. And yeah, I mean, so many animals would kill you. So it's what you want to be killed by. A lion, a gorilla, an ostrich, and I just think, fuck the ostrich.
An ostrich would be a slow death too. I feel like there'd be lots of internal bleeding.
Can you imagine it? It just peck you to death.
Yeah, that would suck.
And it's got that big eye. I wonder though, is there like a point of fear that you can reach where you just can't get any more scared? Like, would I be equally as scared by a lion, or would the ostrich be another level because I just find it disgusting to look at?
Damn, dude, that's a great question. Do
you seriously think an ostrich is more intimidating than a lion?
It's more like its face bothers me more. Like lions are, like all cats are. I mean, cheetahs are a little bit ragged looking, but all cat animals are quite attractive animals, don't you think?
They are, but have you seen their teeth? And then, like, just their
I
purring
know.
alone is fucking terrifying.
No, I like it wouldn't be fun. I'd be fucking petrified. But that's my point. Would I be as petrified, or would I be a bit more petrified by the ugly ostrich and its big fucking eye and big beak? You know?
I think if you're in that panic mode, you probably aren't all the same sort of fear, right? The fear of like imminent death.
Yeah.
I feel like
would
I could
imagine.
strangle an ostrich, but that might just be the Simpsons talking.
No, you're overestimating yourself and seriously underestimating the ostrich, by the way. I saw a lot of emus when I lived in Australia.
Ostrich light.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And that's first sexual experience actually was with an ostrich.
It's what everyone's first sexual experience is, where he's from.
If it's what's out there, man, you know. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I've been 14 too. It's fine.
It was actually 21, and that's how I lost my virginity.
Yeah, the ostrich fucked him.
Yeah.
As far as I could tell, the ostrich seemed to like it. I don't know, man.
And that's how I knew I was a bottom. Wait, don't birds mate with their cloacas?
I don't know,
Dude,
bro.
you're the fact checker. Go Google ostrich dick right now.
I don't really want to. I'd rather just let you swing in the breeze here. Okay, yeah. Okay, what do you want me to look up?
You-
Do
Ostrich
ostriches have
dick.
cloacas?
Ostrich dick.
Have you not already Googled an ostrich dick?
I don't want to Google ostrich dick. Oh my god. Okay, fine, I will. Here we go. They do have penises, and they are big. Wow. Okay, so an ostrich penis. For those of you who don't know, in case you tuned in for part 2 of the worst cult and weren't expecting this, we are talking about ostrich penises. They protrude from the cloaca, and whatever the cloaca is, I don't really know.
For those of us who can't see it, do you want to describe it for us? Give us a detailed rundown.
Oh, it looks like a really long pink jackfruit. I guess is the best I can describe it off of this one picture. I'm not gonna do too deep a dive into ostrich penis.
If we ever do worst animal penis, and I'm not an expert, but I'm close.
Sure.
Turtles have got horrible dicks.
Turtles.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another topic. We should see this topic for another worst animal penises.
Yeah, turtles. I've a Google of them. They're fucking horrible. It went round Facebook or Instagram or one of them a few years ago. They've got nasty dicks.
Like they like you wouldn't want to put it in your mouth, or it's like spiky or what?
Yeah, I don't know if it's spiky like a cat. Like I don't know if it hurts you. But yeah, I wouldn't want to put it in your mouth. Looks fucking disgusting.
Man. So turtles and I have something in common.
Yeah, and you're both over 100 years old. You know, if John's gutted these not English because they get a letter off the Queen.
Well, that took a fucking detour there, didn't it?
Been talking about cults. I'm going to do your cult on this episode, Matt. So, what's your cult?
So the cult I've chosen is probably one of the first cults that will come up in any Google search when you Google worst cult. It's called the Jonestown Massacre. A lot of the first ideas that come into people's heads when you hear the Jonestown Massacre is mass suicide, and something that keeps getting reiterated, and I think it's something we need to bring up as well, that it wasn't a mass suicide, it's mass murder.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
Really? Okay. So I don't know. I really don't. I know some of the bizarre details of the story, right? Like the shoes or whatever. But I really don't. This story has kind of escaped me.
You're thinking of Heaven's Gate. That's the one with the shoes.
Oh, see. Okay, yeah. That's how little I know.
That's the alien suicide cult.
So I barely know anything about Jonestown, right? All I thought I know of it was that there's like a priest.
Yeah, correct.
And he makes, I don't know, somehow they end up in Guyana, is it?
Guyana.
And yeah, I thought it was mass suicide, around 800 people.
So it is, by definition, a mass suicide. When you learn the details, it's more fitting to be a mass murder because it was all conducted essentially by this fanatical leader who was Jim Jones.
All right, so who's Jim Jones?
Jim Jones. Okay, so Jim Jones was born in 1931 in Indiana. He was a white minister that preached mostly to an African American congregation, which was very unusual at the time. The early stages of Jim Jones as a priest or as a minister, he actually did real good for the community. Like, he helped desegregate African American and whites so that they could be together, almost in a sense. What he would do, like he was quite well known in the community, and he would actually go to restaurants where he was well known, and he would bring his whole congregation, and he would say to them, "You seat me here every week. I'm here with my congregation. Are you really going to turn us away?" And he would convince all these restaurants and places that they should be allowed because he's bringing them. And he would fit the bills. He would pay the bills. He did a lot of good for the community. He started nursing homes. He did a lot of good for the community.
So obviously he turns bad, or the story goes wrong. Was he? Is it a case of like he was just a decent fella, and then this happened? Or was there anything going on while he was like, a lovely person?
Did he get drunk on power? Or was it,
Oh, definitely. And that's a theme that we'll probably see in a bit. From his early childhood, people have recounted that he was always fascinated with death. There's been stories of friends saying that they watched him kill a cat and then hold a funeral for it. He used to take his friends or neighborhood children to the local casket maker's factory, and he'd make them all lie in caskets and then preach to them about this is what it feels like to be dead. He always had a weird, obscure fascination with death from a young age.
Yeah, they're weird fucking stories. The cat stories. And it does often start with animals, doesn't it?
Always starts with animals. Common theme. Serial killers, cult leaders, dictators. There's that story of Stalin and the horse.
Stalin was on like a walk with a load of his friends when he was young. And then there was, I think it's a goat. But yeah, some kind of animal is in like the middle of the river and it can't cross.
Yeah.
And all these people, they're all kind of looking at it, wondering what to do. And then Stalin crosses the river, walks over to it, and then waits for everyone to look at him and snaps its neck.
Just as a show of power.
Yeah, just some kind of weird psychotic display, I suppose, yeah.
We don't know. To defend Stalin for a second.
In defense of Stalin.
In defense of Stalin. John's next essay.
We don't know. Maybe the goat was going to drown. Maybe it was already drowning. He wanted to save it an easy death.
I think you take either you believe the story or you don't. Like the way the story's told, it's like a childhood friend, and she tells it like it was a sadistic killing, and he did it on purpose to show it off. So either you believe it or you don't. I think.
Yeah, it does seem in character.
Yeah,
for good old Joseph.
Yeah. Good old Josie boy. So back to Jones. There's also stories of him having an early fascination with religion. When he found religion, when he was very young, he would go to different churches all across his city of different...
like a sect?
Different sects?
Yeah, different churches of different sects. And he would see and take notes, extensive notes of how they conducted their masses, because he realized later in life that he didn't really want to preach for the sake of religion. He actually preached to amass a following. So he used him preaching not for religion, but also to preach his communist and socialist views. He wasn't fully convinced on the religion side of it. He just wanted to preach communism and socialism.
And he's also just like picking up tips basically of how to get the best possible service to give.
Taking notes from the best.
So the sadism aside, he sounds like a kind of a badass dude.
Aren't they all?
Aren't we all sadists?
No, aren't all these... Like, in order to amass a following that big, he's got to have something about him, hasn't he? That doesn't make him good.
I would love to go around preaching socialism and amassing a following. Who wouldn't?
Yeah, that's fair. Until... Before he had moved his congregation to Guyana, there were accusations of him in the media about the abuse that was going on in his church. And he was a very paranoid person, so he always thought the government was out to get him, the Nazis were out to get him, fascists were out to get him. So what he did is that he packed up his church and his temple and his followers, and he moved them to a South American country called Guyana, where he would set up the People's Temple's agricultural project. And that's where the horror sort of begins.
So he's out there in Guyana and they're not monitoring what he's doing?
Well, they are monitoring because... there's a bunch of concerned family members and concerned citizens that, they packed up their whole lives to follow this one man out into the jungle to start a communist and socialist agrarian society.
Do we have a ballpark of how big this church was at the time?
Before he was in Guyana, it was in the thousands, but in Guyana was about 900 to 1,000 people, plus minus. Yeah.
That's pretty big.
It's pretty big. It's pretty big.
So obviously these 1,000 people have all come with him from Indiana.
Indiana was a little too racist for him because, like I said, he preached to African American congregations mostly. He was very about that desegregation life. So they moved to California first before moving to Guyana.
Smart move.
Yeah, because California at the time, I believe, was a little bit more progressive then.
Still is, baby. The only thing I know about Indiana is that it sucks.
And now you know it's where Jim Jones came from.
Yeah. Another strike against Indiana.
In the time, he got very into his prescription medication and his drugs. So he was wearing sunglasses all the time because he was always fucked off his head on something or other. And he was a very paranoid man. So he always thought the government was going to come to Guyana and take him down. But he would convey this to his followers as that the government wants to take them all down. The government's coming to take your children. The government's coming to kill you. So what he would do in Guyana is he would hold these rehearsals, these mass suicide rehearsals called the White Night, where he would wake the followers up at like in the dead of the night, and they would sing hymns and do chants and basically pray because at any given moment they were expected to commit suicide because he told them the government wasn't happy with their ways and they were coming to get them, basically. So they would hold rehearsals for the suicide. Often, apparently these rehearsals could last from hours to days, chanting and praying and singing. And he wouldn't tell them that they were rehearsals until afterwards. So he always kept his followers in like a constant state of fear.
That psychological torture is that's horrific.
Yeah.
But
My God.
did they sign up for the suicide when they left America when they left the USA for South America?
I'm not too sure, but I know like at that point of brainwashing, when you're willing to pack up your life and start to move, you're going to do anything this man says. You're going to do it. If you're already at that point, most of them are going to do anything this man says.
Maybe we're getting into the weeds a little, or maybe I'm getting into the weeds a little here, but do we have any, was it Christian at all at this point still? Or was he just like off on his own?
So from the documentary I've watched and from the podcasts I've listened to is, again, like I say, initially Christian, but as it moved more towards Guyana, it's more about community and, like I said, socialism and communism, about making the world a better place with religion as just the foundation, but not the main ideology.
So do you think his goal initially was just to have a following, like just kind of wanting to be famous, loved? Did he always, I know you said he had an obsession with death, was this always a goal, or is this something he figured out along the way?
I think he was a confused man. I think, yeah, like John mentioned earlier, power crazy, like the power corrupted him.
Yeah.
And then I think his goals probably started to change. I don't think it's made very clear what the end goal was besides this community project.
Paranoia seems to be a driving theme for most of these cult leaders. Whether that comes first and then the power, or they get power and then they become paranoid, I'm not really
I
sure.
would imagine it's power first, because like when you are the top dog, the main man with the power, you have to assume someone's going to try to take you down.
And a lot of that paranoia is normally over-exaggerated, but comes from a genuine place. Like, was the people out to get Jim Jones? Was the government looking at him?
This is actually where I'm going to get into like the bulk of what happened. So there were a lot of concerned family members and concerned citizens in the States about the welfare of the people in Jonestown. And the Congressman Leo Ryan, sent out basically like a investigation party. So him, a handful of journalists and a handful of family members flew to Jonestown so the family members could check up on their family, but so that Congressman Leo Ryan could investigate the claims of abuse from when he was still in the States. And he was concerned about the welfare of the people in Jonestown.
So they fly out, and then is this when it all starts kind of unraveling?
This is when it starts kicking off. But note, like I said before this, they had been rehearsing for mass suicide prior to this, because he had been paranoid, but this is sort of where it kicks off.
Sorry, Matt. Could I just backtrack you there?
Yeah.
What is Jonestown?
Okay, yeah, good question. So Jonestown is basically an agricultural society where the followers of the People's Temple can lead simple agrarian lives. They just farm, they build, they work for each other. It was a place where he could be the leader that he is without oversight from the government. He could do what he wanted to do.
So he went to a developing country and bought a massive cheap plot of land so that he could be the overlord of it.
I'm not sure if he bought it, but yes, that's basically the idea. Yeah.
I tell you what, a lot of these cult leaders, especially the ones we're talking about because they're the successful ones, fucking know what they're doing, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah, these guys got the right idea, bro.
Like, if they were just a little bit less weird and mad, they'd be our boss. They'd be fucking rich.
I mean, L. Ron Hubbard made a ton of money.
If he didn't
You
mass
know what I
murder
mean?
about 900 people, that actually could have been a sick fucking agricultural project if he was doing it for the right reasons.
Was what he said it was going to be.
If it was what he said it was going to be, 100%. So yeah, Congressman Leo and the search party arrive. Initially, Jones doesn't let them into Jonestown. He's not happy about the idea. But after some negotiations of a couple of days, he agrees to let them in. And he does the same thing of rehearsal. So he stands with his followers and he individually makes them practice for what the journalists are going to ask them. So like the journalists are going to ask you this, like, how do you feel about living in Guyana? How do you feel about living in Jonestown? And they had to sit there and rehearse. We love it here. It's the best place we've ever been. Mr. Jones is the greatest man on the planet.
I mean, alarm bells have got to ring when everyone's giving you the same answer.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
You know, one similarity between our cults, which I think might be a bit different with John's, I don't know what you think, is that they seem to prey on weak people and poor people and offer them a better life and stuff like that. Scientology is a bit different, would you say?
I would say Scientology, in order to, like, they're like, I don't know, Japanese or Chinese game development companies. They're not there for the poor people. They want the whales. They want the rich people who can give them more money. Before joining the temple or before getting to, you know, become a devout follower of the People's Temple, you had to like sign over your property to Jim Jones, give him all your assets, give him all your belongings, give him all your money.
But did he make any use of that though? I'm not like defending him, but it sounds like that was more of a deposit than like robbery, if you know what I mean. Like he didn't want their money, he just wanted their complete obedience.
Drugs don't pay for themselves, and neither do agricultural projects.
Ah, okay.
I'm not saying that's where all the money went.
Yeah. No, yeah, as I said, I'm not in any way defending him. I just mean like his goal isn't personal wealth.
That's not what he's known for, but I mean, there might have been some of that, but that's not like the main theme around Jim Jones. Yeah,
I think for Scientology is the same. I don't think maybe L. Ron wanted. I mean, I think he wanted money, but he seemed. Why wouldn't he have just taken the money and gone? Yeah. You know what I mean?
There's something more. Isn't
if he
there?
was really,
if you were smart about it and you wanted the money, you could get the money and then fuck off. But I guess once you get that stream of income coming in, it's just always like, there's more to be had. There's more fish to catch.
Yeah, I imagine you saying it for the power, maybe at that point.
Yeah.
Power over money.
Power over bitches. Power brings bitches.
Power's, yeah.
What came first?
That's my contribution.
What came first, power or bitches?
It's hard for me to say because, like, when I've got power, there's always bitches there, and when I've got bitches, I've got power. It's like,
ooh, it's a vicious cycle.
Tell me about it, bro. I don't know what comes first. I look around and I'm like, wow, how did I get all this power and bitches? Like,
how did I amass all this power? Yeah, all these bitches.
I don't. Yeah. How did this happen? What came first? Chicken or egg scenario, really.
Right. So Congressman Leo Ryan and his
Call
party.
him by his proper title, Matt. Be respectful.
Congressman Leo Ryan and the investigation team and the family members are now invited into Jonestown, and they hold like a massive welcoming party. And it looks to be going good. Like, people are happy, people are dancing, people are singing, the interviewers are interviewing the members of Jonestown. They all seem to be very happy. But there were a few people that did want to leave, and they saw Congressman Leo Ryan as a way to escape. So one of them tried to slip Leo Ryan a note, but he slipped it to the wrong person. He thought it was Leo Ryan, but it wasn't. It was just one of the reporters. But as he was slipping him the note, it dropped on the floor, and one of the armed security guards saw this happen. So he got ushered out, and then Jim Jones was alerted of this treason. So then he knew that people were trying to leave. But in order to like save face, he was like, anyone in my temple is free to leave of their own accord, no problem. If you want to go, you've always got a place back here with your family, such and such. So they made a plan to get the people that wanted to leave out. And the next day, or the day after that, I'm not sure of the exact timeline, the people that want to leave, the family members, and Leo Ryan himself and the investigators are now taken back to the airstrip in Guyana. But Jim Jones has organized an ambush, and he sent a handful of armed guards to murder everyone at the airstrip.
Fuck.
Not everyone was murdered. There were a few survivors, but Congressman Leo Ryan was killed. So that is what kicked off like the chain of events that follow here. Now, Jim Jones knows that killing a congressman is a big no-no in the States. I'm sure anywhere in the world.
Yeah. It's frowned upon.
So this is like the manipulation tactic that he used on his followers, and he announced, Congressman Leo Ryan's been murdered. The United States government is gonna come after us. We all need to kill ourselves. So him and his armed guards created a concoction of grape flavorade and cyanide and any chemical that they could find and fed it to the 900 plus followers in his congregation.
Wow. So they knew it was cyanide, yeah? They knew what they were taking?
Obviously, the devout followers were happy to take it, but then there's the tapes, the death tapes, and there was a lot of pushback, like mothers screaming, please don't murder my children. Children screaming, so that obviously they don't know what's going on. They don't want to drink whatever bullshit's in this concoction. And soldiers would force feed children, inject them, or shoot you if you weren't taking the cyanide.
Fuck me. So who are these soldiers? Are the soldiers also devout followers, or are they just soldiers?
Soldiers and devout followers, like the most devout followers get guns.
Okay, and they're not from Guyana, it's people he's brought with him from America.
So Guyana, at the time, their first official language was English, but most of the followers were American, but there were some Guyanese members of the church as well.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like suicide to me.
So statistically, and this is a grim statistic, of the 900 plus people that committed suicide, air quotes, 305 of them were children.
Fucking hell.
Fuck.
I don't think a lot of the children took it willingly.
No,
They were injected and
no.
force-fed. And yeah, the worst part of it all, the fucking coward Jim Jones didn't even take the cyanide himself. He saw the amount of pain that his followers were in and didn't want to go that way, so he got someone else to shoot him in the head.
Wow. He couldn't even shoot himself in the head?
It's not confirmed, but according to like the coronary reports, it's more than likely someone else did it.
Damn, dude.
900 people mass murdered by one fanatical evangelical socialist piece of shit.
I really want to shit on your argument, but fuck me.
Yeah, but mine takes people's money.
Oh, it's so much worse.
Yeah, you're right, John. Definitely. Give me your money and then don't kill my 300 plus children.
Yeah, tell me your secrets and give me some money.
I want to meet Xenu.
Hey, but mine hides in plain sight, okay? That's what makes it the worst.
They hide in plain sight because they can. Because they're not killing babies.
That's way worse than murdering 300 children.
Another funny little tidbit about the man himself, Jim Jones, is that at a young age, he took a lot of inspiration from Hitler. He found Hitler's, the way that he could rile up a crowd, very inspiring. He obviously didn't believe in, the mass persecution of the Jews, but he really loved the way that Hitler could rally a crowd, and he used that in his own tactics as well.
If you find yourself learning from Hitler, you gotta stop. You gotta take a step back for a second. You know what I mean? Like, have the self-awareness. Like, wait a minute.
Wait.
And he's a socialist who loves Hitler.
Well, I wouldn't say loves, but he would really, really admired the way that he could lead a crowd.
I mean, I guess oratory is probably the one thing you could learn from Hitler in a neutral setting, right? Yeah, probably the one thing is acceptable to study about Hitler. Maybe his art, I don't know.
Oh, just another arbitrary thing about Jim Jones. He also claimed he was the only heterosexual man on the planet. Everyone else was either gay or lesbian.
Why? Why does he claim that? Just because he's the
It's
only
such a
one who's
bizarre
pure.
statement. I don't even know how to respond to that.
Well,
it's
So apparently he didn't like romantic relationships in the church. So maybe it had something to do with that. He's like, I don't want you guys fucking each other. So you're gay and you're lesbian not.
Was he sleeping with the women in Jonestown?
So just to quote another podcast called Last Podcast on the Left, and according to them, he had what he called a fuck list, basically. And there was one devout follower.
I'm familiar with the concept.
You're familiar with the concept. You got one on your table right now. I can see it.
It's got one name on it.
It's called me. Go fuck yourself,
Yeah,
John.
Matt. Just Matt a million times.
There's a Y on some of them and there's no Y on others, so you don't know which of us you want to fuck at any given point.
I like to think it depends on the day. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to. Whichever one of you is looking tastier.
Which of our cult leaders would perform best in the United fucking League?
Oh. Well, remember, Scientology's got two. There's L. Ron Hubbard, who was the original founder, and now there's David Miscavige. So which one?
So who's the
I would think
Biggest
neither.
shagger.
I would think neither. Because Elrond, by the time of Scientology, is like kind of an old man. He's kind of like a gross old man. He looks like a science fiction character in the pictures. Like he looks like he'd be like a gnarled old man.
I feel like Jim
Like living
Jones
under a
is
bridge.
constantly hopped up on coke, so he'd be able to perform. Or maybe he wouldn't. Maybe that would actually take away his ability.
Jan van Leyden made a whole city polygamist because he was such a randy little cunt.
Okay, that guy is literally the founder of the United fucking League. Hands down.
Yeah, I think Jan van Leyden would be the winner here.
Yeah, they would almost.
Of
It
that.
could even be the Jan van Leyden United fucking League.
The JVLUFL. It's got a ring to
JVL.
it.
It's going places.
I mean, David Miscavige is tiny, so I don't think anyone wants to. He seems like a paranoid,
Yeah,
sad little man.
sad little rat man.
Yeah, I don't see him. I don't see him doing much.
Just back to this fuck list. So there's a story of one of his devout followers really wanted to get with him, but according to Jim Jones, she was too heavy for him. But she gets the best job of all. She gets to be in charge of the fuck list, so she gets to decide who he shags. What a job.
She must so utterly worship him. You can just imagine how that conversation goes and how he like makes her believe that's a good thing.
And better than fucking me, you get to decide who fucks me. You play God with my dick.
Oh God. It's like as a primary school teacher, it's like being too lazy to give out the sheets and then manipulating the kids. Do you want to help me give them out? Look.
That's true. It does start with the game of Simon Says in primary, and then it just goes off from there. You know what I mean? Like that's how it. That's power.
That's where
That's fucking
it's
power.
all the power.
Simon Says.
Yeah.
Simon Says drink the Kool-Aid.
It was actually Flavor Aid. Get it right. Get it right.
What was it? Flavor
It
Aid?
was Flavor Aid. Kool-Aid is a common misconception.
Flavor. I don't even know what the fuck flavor it is. Some gross knockoff.
Probably.
More flavor.
I mean, I guess if they're gonna die anyway, whatever. Give them the cheap stuff.
Do you think Kool-Aid was like part of the conspiracy and made it theirs so that they'd be the most popular brand? Like, hold on, this is bad, but we'll take the reins on this. At least our name's out there.
All publicity is good publicity.
Even if you're Harvey Weinstein.
No, not if you're Harvey Weinstein. I guess. I guess he's the exception. He is the exception to the rule. There are some exceptions. I think Tiger Woods lost some bad publicity.
What about Dan the Hyman Collider Schneider?
Oh God, he was the Nickelodeon guy.
Yeah, he
right?
was the foot
Is that
guy.
who I'm
Dan,
thinking of?
get in the van, Schneider.
Wait, what's this?
So Dan Schneider was like either a producer, but a really head honcho of Nickelodeon, and he would do weird shit with all these child stars, like always making them show their feet, like cuddling up to them. It's weird. Like there's documentaries about it. I haven't read too much into it, but John, maybe you can elaborate more.
Whose famous feet did he admire? As he sucked Miley Cyrus's toes.
Oh God, Dan Schneider's a fucking gross man. Oh my God. Just looking at his face, he just looks like a fucking gross dude. Oh my God.
Some people you only have to look at, don't you? I look at Jimmy Savile now and I'm like, how didn't you know he was a pedo when you fucking laid eyes on him?
Yeah. Oh God, I don't even know what he looks like. He's like, it's hard for me to describe.
Yeah.
Like if John Candy was a fucking pedophile.
Oh, Dan, he's got pedo eyes, hasn't he?
Doesn't he?
Ugh.
Doesn't he though? Okay, so Wikipedia actually doesn't have that much about it. See, Dan Schneider.
You don't need Wikipedia anyway. All you need to do is look at someone, and if you think they're a pedo, they probably are.
That's how I live my life.
That's how you got to do it.
They probably are. Yeah.
That's why I don't have any mirrors in my house.
Yeah. Safety first, though.
Just in
Safety
case,
first.
you never know. I don't want to see those eyes. I don't want to see what stares back at me. There might be nothing.
If you stare too long into the void also stares into you. Something like that. I haven't actually read Nietzsche. I can't tell you the real quote.
It's the abyss, bro.
Is it the abyss?
Yeah, man.
Okay, well.
For he who
let's fact
spends
check
too
this.
much time with monsters should take care that he himself does not become a monster. I love quotes. I remember quotes very well.
Yeah, okay. Battle not with monsters, lest ye become a monster. And if you gaze into the abyss gazes also into you. Great. Yeah, that's a good one. But battle not with monsters. That's so just like let monsters do their thing. Is that really what you want, Nietzsche?
I think what he's saying is if you do spend too much time. I mean, a very simple layman's way of doing that quote would be, "You are the company you keep." I think.
Well, I'm fucked with the two of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, bro.
So
That's okay, I forgive
obviously,
you.
if you are the company you keep, then the royal family are all paedophiles. Thanks for listening. If you want to get in touch, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Worst of the Worst Pod, and on Twitter at Worst of Worst Pod, and you can find us on anywhere podcasts are played.